teachers and administrators for the future through its teacher education program, leveraging tech and data. His 3-decade-long career spans development and government organizations such as Bharti Foundation, Save the Children, UNICEF, and Sight Savers International. He is a global goodwill ambassador and has authored The Skills Edge to promote the skills approach in school education. He is also a member of CII Northern Region Committee, the Education Wing, and on the board of the Guru Nanak Dev University, Punjab, an advisor to the World Teen Parliament and Neiman Global Capital, USA. Mr. Anthony has won several awards, including Reformer in Education Region 2023 by the Global School Leadership Consortium and the Best CSR Head in the Education domain at SMX CSR Leadership Summit and Awards. Our next panelist is Mr. Dipen Shah, who is currently the India lead of the employee volunteering program HOPE at TCS. He is passionate about driving positive change through the volunteering initiatives, which he oversees for TCS's India Associates. And he has designed the program to serve women, youth, and marginalized groups in the areas of health, education, and the environment. With 25 years of experience, 18 of which he has spent at TCS, Dipen has worked in BFSI and human resources, focusing on employee engagement and well-being. Dipen lives in Mira Bhayandar with his family and enjoys cooking, traveling, exploring, blogging, and photography. Moderating this panel is Mr. Gigi John, who is currently the Executive Director of Child Help Foundation. He has nearly 3 decades of experience across functions and roles, from business development to project management and service delivery management in telecom, broadband, non-profit, crowdfunding, and digital marketing organizations in companies like Escotel Mobile Communications, Sifi Technologies, AsiaNet Satellite Communications, and Ortel Communications. He's a Bitsian and holds an MBA from XIMB, and he's now on a mission to drive access to nutrition, education, and healthcare facilities for every child. We welcome you on stage. Finally, we welcome our last panelist, Ms. Sushila Lakshminarayan Nistala Shastri, an accomplished education professional with over 3 decades of experience. Currently, as Senior Program Director at Save the Children India, she leads impactful educational initiatives reaching over 10,000 students across 5 Indian states. Her expertise spans strategic leadership, curriculum development, fundraising, and 21st century skilling. She has leveraged tools like community engagement, policy advocacy, research, and capacity building of SMCs, that is school management committees, to work towards educational reform in India. All right, over to Mr. Gigi, who will be moderating the session for today.
Thank you so much. Good to see so many people after lunch and before tea. And I was thinking ours is the last panel, and then we will have only 4 people here and 4 people from MBMC, but thankfully we have people. Good evening to you all. Good to see that energy. So when this topic was given, I was thinking that way times have changed. When, people who are in their 40s and 50s here in terms of age, you would realize there was nobody to guide us. We were self-guided. We were supposed to go to the school, jinko naseeb mein school milta tha, they used to go to the school. And after that, what was expected is you do some professional course if you are really talented, so-called talented. But when I see, it's not talent or the talented people who have become engineers or doctors, it was people who were studious, जो ज़्यादा पढ़ते थे, and whose parents used to force them saying that, you should take up this career, you should take up this career. There was a lot of pressure and only few opportunities available those days. And the others, the lesser ones, used to graduate, and the others never used to graduate. And that's the way it used to be. Now, we have this beautiful initiative called Employability at 18, which takes care of all the gamut of this society. It's not only the well-to-do, it's not only the middle class. Today there is an opportunity for all. And how do we optimize that is what we will discuss today. I am supposed to be a speaker come moderator, so I will speak less and moderate more initially, and then I will speak more whenever the flow comes in. So I would request each one of you to take a few minutes to just introduce your organization. You have already been introduced. So a few minutes to tell us what your organization does and how is it connected to education. So I would start with Sushila ma'am.
Thank you very much, J.J. Johnji. And I really appreciate MBMC for giving us this opportunity to come here and present our thoughts and views over here. Also represent our organization. I represent Vipla Foundation, that is also known as Save the Children India. The aim is making India a child-friendly nation and also help and empower women and children from the marginalized communities to live a life of dignity and well-being. So the organization also works in 4 to 5 thematic areas. One is education, early intervention, and women empowerment. Under education, we work with government schools and slum communities, and we run remedial program and pre-primary education program. We also run a school for special needs children in BKC Bandra. Under the early intervention, we have screening for the children who are hearing and speech impaired at the early age of 0. And then in the women empowerment program, we have prevention, prosecution, protection, and legal policy advocacy for the women who are trafficked and sent into the remand homes. So various programs on skilling and employable opportunities are also conducted for these women. With MBMC, we had a partnership of 4 years. Since last 4 years, we are working on Project Kamyab, where we are also training the Anganwadi teachers, 27 Anganwadi teachers in the curriculum and implementing the quality education in Balwadis. And we also work with a Project Kamyab, where 680 girls, mothers of those children, who are educated but do not have the opportunity to go out of their house and earn their livelihood. So we help them to earn their livelihood, groom them, give them employability skills and help them to earn their livelihood. And while they are away for work, we take care of their children in a daycare center fully. So these are the facilities which are available with us in Vipla Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sushila ji. Anthony, can we have a brief overview about what your organization does?
Thank you, Gigi, and thank you to MBMC for inviting me. This is like the last class of the day.
Yeah.
And
So be relaxed. All of you, please
happy
be
to see.
relaxed.
Last class of the day is supposed to be a little more relaxing. How many of you are going to the schools? Okay, many are awake. That's a good thing. All right, I know everybody has got school, but only few have raised the hand. That means they are awake. So the last of the class, last class of the day.
Last class of the day, and there is a tea after
A
this.
tea after that, so it will be refreshing thereafter as well. So I don't want to say my name is Anthony Gonsalves. Being in Bombay, if you don't add a touch of Mumbai, it's not good. So anyway, I'm representing here as head of Sterlite at India Foundation. We work in 3 areas. The main focus is teacher education, where we focus with pre-service teacher education. That means we work with the diets of the state governments, government B.Ed colleges in a special way, and also in some areas we also work with private B.Ed colleges. The focus is again, how do we prepare the teachers, the future teachers, the current pre-service student teachers, before they become teachers, how do we prepare them to be good teachers? At the same time, how do we create that passion and commitment and motivation before they get into it? Because once they become teachers, it becomes a little more difficult to untrain and train. The second focus is on in-service teacher training, where we work with the teachers who are currently working in the system. The third stakeholders where we work are the educational administrators, where we help them with data analytics program, and we are working with MCGM education team, education officials for the last 4-5 years. So the idea is the data that is being captured, the a lot of information is already there. How do we put it into a very succinct manner, analyze it, and give it back to them so that informed decision can be made? It's a live dashboard. The third stakeholder that we work with are community and parents, where we help them to be part of their own children's learning journey. At the same time, how do we help the parents and community members to be a good ecosystem, support system for the schools so as to improve the quality of education, say. So we don't directly work with the schools. However, we work with all the stakeholders who work. We also work with, we have started also working with how do we envision the exercise for SCRTs and the diets to make center of excellence as well. So that's a key initiative that we have started this year.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Dipen, can we have a brief overview about
Thank you so much, Gigi, and thank you, Ms. Shah, for calling me out with my beautiful profile, and I'm sure you all know me now. But yes, just to give a brief, like Anthony and Sushila ji gave, my name is Dipen. I am part of Tata Group. Very proud to be the part of Tata Consultancy Services, working with them from past 18 years. As our founder once said, that in the free enterprises, the community is not just another stakeholder, but in fact, it is a very purpose of their existence. So with that thought process and 150 plus years of community services, TCS and Tata's has always done, definitely TCS is not 150 years, but yes, Tata's and been into the community services. And I look at the employee volunteering program largely for Pan-India. Me and my team look for opportunities, and our primary stakeholders are women, youth, and marginalized group. Looking at their employability, skilling, education, and entrepreneurship is the work which we work on. Definitely, there are other SDGs, UN SDGs goals which we look at. Definitely, which also have zero hunger, no poverty, life above the land, below the land, and almost everything. We also look at partnering with NGOs because that is what we see is kind of a current need. When we started volunteering, it was a very clear thing to understand the psyche of the volunteer. As an individual, as a volunteer, I cannot go and solve the world problem. So I need to solve the local societal issues, and that is where the volunteering comes into picture. Then there are various flagship programs which includes education, so we'll speak much on that and have questions from Gigi, so looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dipen. So if you permit, let me also speak about my organization where I represent. I represent Child Help Foundation. So we are in our teenager years now, completed 13 years, 14th year is running. We are actively pursuing 12 sustainable development goals throughout the country. We have done projects in 26 states and union territories. And if I sum up these 12 sustainable development goals into programs, these will be health, education, water and sanitation, gender equality, zero hunger, village development, calamity relief, life on land, and life below water. So these 9 programs, we have got more than 48 lakh beneficiaries till date, and we would love to expand it much beyond what we are now. And the way we are doing employability at 18, we are at 2023. At 2027, we will be 36 years of age, 37 years of age. And we would like to cover majority of the underprivileged by that time. And if you ask me what is the long-term goal of Child Help Foundation or any other NGOs for that matter, by 2047, people should be on their own and we all should be actually exiting out. That should be our objective rather than continue this support lifelong. And I think all the NGOs here, all the corporates here should have that objective of bringing people to be on their own so that all these organizations can exit and they maintain their life on their own. So now, moving forward, Sushila ji, you have had a lot of experience handling children from the school level, and you have been instrumental in training thousands of children on various domains. Now we have got a good, panel here. So you have that experience. We have Dipen here, who has got experience in, molding the graduates and making them employable. And then we have Anthony here, who has the entire ecosystem being built up for the skill part. Okay, so we will, start with you. You guide us on what exactly should be done at the school level so that the skills improve at the school level, and then we will move to Dipen. He can carry on from there on.
Sure. So to have children employable at the age of 18, they need to possess certain skills. And those skills, since the parents are either illiterate or half literate in the municipal schools or in the government school scenario, the school need to provide those skills itself. So I have also gone through, served some data. What is the current status of the children between the age group of 14 and 18? What they're doing, what skills they possess currently to be able to qualify for the employability. There is a report called ACER report, Beyond Basics, which show that the children between the age group of 14 to 18, only 41% children, they can do some kind of division or subtraction at that age level. This is the data of 22 and 23. If we go to see youth, their arithmetic level, what is the rate? Male children have 69% children can do managing some kind of budgets, and around 46% children can do discount if they are employable, then discount schemes and all. Calculating repayments, only 14% children can do. Among the female, 53% can manage the budgets, and applying discount only 27%, and calculating repayment and all, only 7% can do. This is what the data shows. Also, there is something interesting coming. Youth who can read and understand written instructions. If there are written instructions, what is the understanding level? Among the male, 69% male can understand 3 sentences out of 4 or 5. And only 30% cannot understand 3 questions out of 4 questions. Among the female, 61% female can read 3 out of 4 questions, but 38% cannot read 3 out of 4 questions. So this is again something else is coming up. Everyday calculations. If they have to be employable, they need to do everyday calculations. Among the male, calculating time, only 50% boys can do the calculating time. Adding weights, 65% can do. Measuring length, 87% can do. Measuring length, hard and easy, only 45% can do. Applying unitary method, only 55% can do. And among the female, it is 41% and 42% across. If we see the English, what is the ACER report says about the English speaking skills among the children. If we see children below 10 standard, male, only 55% children can read 1 or 2 sentences in English. This is Maharashtra data. It's not all India. This is Maharashtra data. And 12th and graduate level children, 75 to 71% boys can do the 75% can do the reading, and 71% girls can do the reading. So if we see, this is the status of our youth at current level. This is clearly indicates that we need to work in the primary age, primary grade level. A lot of emphasis has to be given, because maybe these children are lacking the foundational literacy and numeracy skills. They need to be given, and the current school-going children need to be provided with those kind of supports. So the corporations and NGOs and all the partners should be prepared with this kind of addressing these needs.
Thank you, Sushilaji. I think that's a very interesting statistics which you gave. Now, when you spoke about FLN, in the language, are you considering only English or do you consider even the...
In the language, it is mother Indian language, which is Marathi, Hindi, Urdu, Gujarati, whatever mother tongue they are doing. English is a second language for the children. I'm not talking about public schools or English medium schools.
Right.
This is the data of only government schools and
Right, because
localized communities.
I personally perceive that and believe that English, just because it's a global language, we are forced to learn English. But ideally, language is something where you need to communicate, that's it. But then today, if you have to get into IT, you should know English. So that becomes a mandate. Otherwise, there is no point in forcing people to learn English. Just to quote an example, one of our senior members in our organization, she had come from a Marathi medium, and after she joined, she came and told me that when I write English, I take some time because I think in Marathi, but when I have to pen it in English, I'm not able to convert it into English because my thought is in Marathi. And she took effort, and over a period, in 3 years of time, she became fluent in English, and that too a senior person, nearing 50. Okay? And to quote the best part of it, she got engaged to a person from the US who was a resident of US, and now she has migrated to the United States of America. So this can happen at any point of time. It's only a matter of will. When you have proficiency in your local language, you have to put in a little effort, and that proficiency in English can come through. And if it's done at a younger age, that helps. And that is where I think FLN helps, because your focus area is between 3 to 8 years initially, right? And that's when, the child does not have to struggle too much to learn.
6 to 14.
6 to 14. 6 to 14.
Also, you can say pre-primary and
Pre-primary age. So that's when people don't have to struggle that much. But then, point is, we need not worry about that English part too much. Okay. But then if it is incorporated in this, that helps. Now, Dipen, Sushila ji has already told on the challenges at a school level. You have been working on graduates. You have been molding them to be employable, to make them employable. Now, we would like to hear from you. Do you have any thoughts कि अरे इसको अगर school level में ये दिया जाता, then at graduation level he would have excelled, and it would have been easier for him to become employable, because today's statistics says in Mumbai itself, only 10% of the graduates are employable, which is pathetic, right?
True.
So we would like to hear from you what exactly is your thought on this, on the current graduates, as well as what could have been done at school level to make them better at this level.
See, it's very simple. बहुत ही आसान चीज़ है. In fact, I would love to see hands raised. हमारा जन्म हुआ है, हम पैदा होते ही we did not start running, right? We started crawling, फिर खड़े हुए दीवार की मदद से हमने चलना सीखा. There was someone who was educating us. Shushila ji gave us a very detailed number. I don't want to talk on data, which is very important aspect when we talk about serving back to community. But what happens, the base is very important. To reach at that level, and I have a couple of stories which I'm going to share with you throughout this 1 hour whenever I get a chance. with the employability after graduation. So the base, when coming back to your question, the base is very important. The kind of education system we have, there are two sectors. One is private, one is government. Private sector has a lot of exposure, a lot of visibility. Though I was very happy looking at the video which we played in the beginning, and we saw a lot of technology being used. तो ये बहुत ही बढ़िया चीज़ है कि हमारे 36 स्कूल जो मीरा भाईंदर में we are using technology. I'm not going to comment any other schools right now because I'm the resident of Mira Bhayandar. I have been to one of the government school near the railway station, Mira Road railway station, and I have seen the way they have made it nicely. But yes, there is somewhere कुछ चीज़ें lacking है. Are we using STEM education? Yes, we are using, but at what level we are using? So when we look at the same things in other geographies, maybe out of India, there's a little different. There is skill which has been chosen as an education sector. As GZ mentioned कि हम जब young थे हमको बोला गया था तुम engineer बनोगे, तुम doctor बनोगे, and we were been pushed. And जो नहीं बने वो graduate बने और जिनको कुछ नहीं बनना तो कुछ नहीं बने. So now it is an opportunity for a child also to see that if I am skilled in XYZ thing at a certain level, definitely education is very important. We create that base because once you build up that confidence, that is very important. We have a program called YEP, Youth Employment Program. So we sign MOUs with university, both engineering, non-engineering. Our volunteers go and there are 4 to 5 modules which we take them through. Simple modules. But that gain a kind of confidence in them that they're able to face the corporates like TCS and other one. We have a security guard and his daughter now is a TCSer. So it's kind of a very big thing to see that a person like a security guard in TCS, his daughter is also a TCSer. I was talking to one of my HR colleague and she one day said that today my maid came and said that I want to make 2 tiffins. And my colleague asked that why 2 tiffins? It's only me. Said no, my daughter is also going to start working with TCS. So it's a very good thing for us. So it's about confidence, and they all are part of YEP program. So as a community, as a part of this, we need to go ahead and just build that self-confidence in them. Maybe at a later level, but I would suggest, as Sushila mentioned, it is very important to create that base. Once the base is there, I'm sure every child would understand that this is important for me. And as Commissioner Sir mentioned in the beginning, while addressing the entire audience and participants, that from he and his team saw 54 people dropped out in 10th standard. Then they did a kind of saying that nahi inko karwate hai, and then only few turned up. I'm sure they must have done the research and study that why they are not coming. I understand that उनको लगता है कि ये पैसे कमाने के लिए चाहिए ना. But probably if there is a skill which has been taken care from the beginning, I'm sure they will say कि नहीं हम आएंगे हमको ये सीखने मिल रहा है. Maybe anything. So I think that is what very important when we talk about creating that base from the pre-primary. In fact, I'll say pre-primary and then primary. We heard Merlin ma'am giving a suggestion, which is very good, that when we talk about environment or health care system, education is very important. So according to me, when we do this education, it is not only the child, it is the child, the teacher, and the parents.
Thank you so much. That helps. Now, when you spoke about the infrastructure which you saw here, I would like to give you my personal experience. Our team also visited the schools in MBMC. Beautiful infrastructure. I think many of the private schools don't have this infrastructure. But एक ही दुख था मुझे. That board was smart board. हमारे ज़माने में blackboard हुआ करता था. We used to get hit by chalks. आज के दिन teachers क्या करेंगे? They can't do anything. Right? So we used to have dusters and chalks thrown on us when we were disturbing the class. But अभी smart board आ गया है, हाथ से लिखते हैं. So beautiful. But the issue is somewhere else then. You have already given the infrastructure. It's beautifully maintained. I visited these schools without telling them. The toilets were absolute clean. There are digital labs being sponsored by corporates. So then the challenge is somewhere of the students not coming on time, students not being there, and teachers not being sufficient, and those who are there, are they skilled enough? So I would like Anthony to give us a guidance on this, because he has written a book also regarding skills. So Anthony, what is your thought on this? Because as far as MBMC is concerned, the infrastructure is beautiful, right? So is it a matter of skilling? And if it is, what is your thought on how to overcome that deficiency?
Yeah, it's a quite an interesting question to tackle in such a short time. But at the same time, I feel infrastructure is not the most important thing in education system. And I'm sure many of you who are here would have heard about Shantiniketan. There is absolutely no infrastructure. They have done school education without any major infrastructure. So infrastructure is an enabler. It definitely helps. But how do you use these infrastructure resources is the key part of it. It's very easy to give smart board. Of course, now they might have to throw not dusters, the remote maybe. It's very easy to give smart board, maybe digital resources. At least in the beginning, the digital resources were the scan copy of the book. So you are just trying to make everything which is physical into virtual. But the use of resources to engage. My experience that has happened in many of the school education programs that I have run, if you are able to improve the student-teacher engagement, you don't need smart board. In fact, Diben was talking about confidence. Even, Gigi, you were talking about, that will to learn, that your employee came and, wanted to improve the English. What is need to be done at the school level is, how do you create that interest among the students to learn? That is not happening. And if you are able to get the teachers, whoever is there in our system, to teach that particular skill, because most of the time teachers are focused on getting the syllabus completed, not the learning completed. In fact, I'm sure many of the inspectors, district education officers who are going to the schools, they only look at syllabus completed most of the time, not the learning completed. In fact, I remember in one of the schools which I was managing, we used to manage about 800,000 schools in the earlier project. And we were having our governing board members visit. So unfortunately, what happens when any high-level visit happens, the school education stops for a few days. And then what happens after the meeting is over, everything is over, I used to tell the headmaster, please don't bother about, you are behind by 1 week. It's okay. Let us go slow on that. But what happens at the end of the month when I look at the MIS, syllabus is completed. Then we have to go back and tell them to redo the whole thing aspect. There are few things that we can do, simple things. How do we involve students at the center of the learning? Most of the time, the center of the learning is the teachers. So the resources that we have seen, it's a beautiful infrastructure, sir. I don't think there is more infrastructure can be added to that you already have it. But actually is, how do you use these resources and make student as the center of the learning process? If students are able to engage, I can guarantee that all the skills can be developed, which Sushila ji was talking about, that can be, that is missing at the age of 18. Even my study also, I've done a study of about 1,200 students plus. The basic skill set which is missing in many of the students at the school level is communication, collaboration, and empathy. In my study, my finding is, empathy is the central skill that has to be developed, which has got high correlation with all the other skill set which we are talking about. So what are we doing at the grassroots level, at the pre-primary level, as Dipen mentioned? We need to start at that class level. And for that one, are our teachers oriented to develop the skills? At graduation level, it is too late. That is the reason only 60% of the engineers and MBAs are employable, though they pass. And 10% of graduates are employable. It is too late. The school education is a critical focus. So MBMC, when you are focusing on school education in your centers, we have to focus teachers as a real change maker, not just as a teacher. They need to facilitate the learning. The methodology has changed. The requirement of 21st century is different. If we need 21st century skills developed among students, we need 21st century skill methodology. We cannot have teachers who are trained in 18th century methodology training in the schools of ours. I'm sure many of our schools have good, dedicated teachers. Not necessarily it is the knowledgeable teacher that makes a difference. I'm sure all of you remember your teacher in your school. How many of you had more than one favorite teacher in your school? More than one favorite teacher. Okay? Let me ask the question rephrase. More than two teachers? You see the number has come down from almost 40% to 10%. Most of our schools have really, really good teachers, 2, 3, 4. Not necessarily 100% teachers are they. But it is these committed, dedicated teachers who are interested in children makes the school different. In fact, I personally believe, and I talk to all the teachers and principals, please believe that every child can learn. Most of the time, teachers teach the front bench, not the back benchers. And many of the time, it's the back benchers who come out or drop out and become business magnet. So please, I would like to stress that point. Let us help the teachers, empower them to improve their capacities to engage the children, make children as the center of learning.
Great. Thanks.
Gigi, if may I add something,
Yeah, sure.
I completely agree with what Anthony said. It is always about empathy. And I'm sure we all agree that COVID has taught us a lot. Maybe baking a cake from gas relief to getting on virtual education system. With that empathy statement, a beautiful program which is curated by TCS, which is called Go IT, Go Innovate Together. Where you do not need to be an engineer or you do not need to be an IT graduate. You just need to empathize the situation where you are. And I think that will help the children. Again, as I like to tell stories, there's one story that one of the village in Pune, one of the NGO in Pune, our team of volunteers went for Go IT program, and they wanted to do something. And they went and they said, okay, you can go ahead. There are 6 modules. So first module is to come up with the empathy statement. What is the problem statement? And they came up saying that our parents are either cobblers or small time workers, mazduri karte hai. What we can do? We just gave them a statement, understanding, and then the volunteer did the training and all. And then they came up with a prototype, which was again a WhatsApp group, where they started like a LinkedIn project, okay, where people can go and look for those support and they can hire them. And this is how the employability came for their parents, and they were very happy. Small prototype. So as you mentioned, and I agree with you, and very nicely said, that empathy is the one thing which we need to see in this system of children during the education.
Thanks, Dipen. I would partially disagree with Anthony that infrastructure is not important. Maybe what you meant is from a normal board to a smart board. We have experienced that there were schools wherever we have done projects. Theory was not being communicated properly. For example, take science. When we put up a mini science center in the school, suddenly the children started taking interest in physics, chemistry, mathematics. So that's infrastructure. So the infrastructure which was not there was brought in, and then the practical side of it was, put up to them. If I ask you, do you remember Pythagoras theorem? Can you tell me what is Pythagoras theorem? Anyone? Why is a square plus b square is equal to c square? Who answered that? Yeah, why is a square plus b square equal to c square? Ratta mara. Absolutely. That, in mini science center, you have a model where the triangle is made. There are 3 boxes. One side square, other side square, other side square. We all know that the area of a square is side into side, okay? So they put some sand into that in two of those side wala squares. So a square plus b square में जितने sand थे, that was moved to c square, the c square wala, and this exactly fitted into that. ये जो स्क्वायर था, ये जो स्क्वायर था, वो hypotenuse का जो स्क्वायर था, उसमें जो sand था, these two went inside and that fitted in exactly. Now if I show you this, will you say that मैंने रट्टा मारा था? You will never forget this, right? That is the power of mini science centers and practical things. And we have seen how children have become so confident. They're able to now showcase how to propel rockets using water. Pehle they would have felt afraid to even think about rocket when the teacher says, today I will teach you about rockets or the force. But then when they see this, now they are able to relate whatever they are studying in theory, how is it connected? And this I am talking about ashram shalas. I'm not talking about a privileged school or even a very good school like MBMC school. This is an ashram shala where the infrastructure is, I would say, not even 10% of what we have in MBMC, sir. There the students' confidence level has gone up. We intervened in one of the ashram shalas. In 1 year, the pass percentage became 100%. In 1 year, we gave some teaching support, we gave the practical experiences, and today, 2 of them want to be civil servants, and we are supporting them. And this is where I think NGOs come in, and corporates also supported it. Now my question to you, Sushila ji, is, based on your experience, how do you think we can support MBMC in the objective which Sir said in the morning, Sanjay Sir said in the morning, that there were 54 failures and only 24 of them or 23 of them are willing to even come for remedial classes. So what do? I mean, we are an educated lot sitting here. We have got so much of gyan to give. Maybe monetary wise, there are so many corporates around who can support us. How do we combine all this and ensure that each child gets the right education and they become successful in their personal lives? Your views, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. So also the COVID-19 school closure for 2 years has added to this situation because many children have lost their schools for 2 years continuously. Their basic foundation has become lost. And then those gaps could not be filled afterwards due to whatever reason it may be. So what can be done? The recommendations are many. We can have a planned activity or a planned program which can be done to build the strong foundational literacy and numeracy skills. The new education policy says children who are lagging behind can be given remedial education to minimum 6 months to maximum 2 years. This is the new education policy says. Also, Nipun Bharat Mission has recommended oral and written literacy, numeracy should become a movement like a world literacy campaign. So there are workbooks, there are many remedial worksheets which can be given to the students that can happen, and encourage healthy childhood by ensuring socio-emotional well-being of the children, those value education and socio-emotional well-being, because when we say their empathy need to be built, so this brings the socio-emotional well-being, brings those empathy aspect into the children from the childhood, from the school age. Also improve the parent and community engagement, because children are there for 5 hours in the school and most of the time they are with the parents, and most of the parents are illiterate or half literate. We have to educate and engage those parents in the growth and development of the children continuously. So PTAs and SMCs, these should happen very frequently and ensure parents' participation in those activities on a continuous basis. And remedial education is a must. A school should have a remedial period from grade 1 to 5 on a daily timetable, I feel. And like private schools and other elite schools definitely have it. Because if we say remedial education is an NGO part or anything else, it is not sustainable. The program will get implemented only till the period the NGO is in the school. But if it is implemented by the school teacher on a regular basis for one period, at least every day, one day may be maths and one day language, only cover 2 subjects. And then on a regular basis, those 30 to 40, 50% children who are lagging behind will get supported. In the same class, peer-supported activities and teacher-supported activities can be planned. And NGOs like Vipla Foundation can come and build the capacities of the teachers and plan a regular curriculum, remedial curriculum for MBMC schools and do that on a regular basis. And also help in activating the SMC, activating the parent engagement part, and how can we leverage those parents to take interest and ask questions to the school and in the SMC related to education, related to development, related to growth of the children. And then we can also have, like one of the panelists, maybe JJ John has said, the science experiments.
Many
Because
science centers.
in the 5th, 6th, 7th grade, we can do simple science experiments like temperature inside and outside the fridge. This need not have to be lot of equipments or lot of things. The rainbow colors, it can happen from a कांच का टुकड़ा and then there is some sunshines के सामने oppositely रख के, there simple things can be taught to the children in practically, where the children will learn simple science and maths concepts on a practical manner. So these things can be done from primary age, from grade 1 to like an FLN remediation and teacher training.
Thank you,
etc.
ma'am. I agree with what you said, but I think one of the critical factors what we have in MBMC is most of these children are migrants, children from migrant families. And suddenly they will vanish for 2 months during Diwali. Right? Even in class 10 they will vanish. And then you have the school struggling to find what to do. When you call them, they say, हाँ हम आएंगे, कभी आएंगे. And it is those children who are getting affected. So I think there should be some sensitivity being put into the parents on a regular basis to showcase what education do to their child. For example, Dipen gave a beautiful example. The security guard of TCS has his daughter now working in TCS as an IT engineer, I guess. So this is an example that father felt that the child can do it and the company supported and they were able to do it. So this is a critical area which we have to work on. The teacher should be in regular communication with parents. If required, they should visit their homes regularly. Sensitize them, give them examples, live examples of how we all have seen the movie 12th Fail, right? So motivating movie. I mean, that boy had nothing in his life and how he changed himself, and that's a real life story. I mean, these are examples. So these guys have seen movies, they see movies, you can show them movies, you can showcase so many things. And I think that is also one aspect which we should touch to make this 54 as 0. There should be no failures in MBMC. No failures. And if it has to happen, if that 54 has to become 0, the child has to be physically present. Without him being there, how will he give exam? His name is already there, so he will fail. He's not giving exam, he'll fail. So Dipen, would you touch on what your company can do along with Meera Bhayandar, MBMC, to ensure that we make that 54 as 0 and make all these people employable with such a beautiful infrastructure with the officials have worked day and night to give them?
No, absolutely. In fact, see, when we got to know about this conclave, and I was the happiest one because being here, residing in Mira Bhayandar, I've seen this first time. I think someone from the audience also in the beginning, early morning, said that with her span of 25 years, she has seen this first time. So I was very happy, and we already have started discussion with MBMC. We have already got a list of 36 school students which we are going to sanitize and help them. But yes, I think the kind of content is required, because I'm now looking at employability at 18. So, and I gotten privilege to meet Mr. Katkar, one-on-one, and he explained me very well, that how this is going to help. I know we understand that you're looking at YEP, which is graduate, but after 10th, and he quoted a very good example, and which is, जब तक मिड डे मील मिल रहा है तब तक हम स्कूल आ गए, एंड एज यू सेड के दे आर दिवाली में चले गए, छोड़ दिया. सो वी हैव टू क्रिएट दैट कंटेंट व्हिच मेक देम फील और अपील देम के यार स्कूल चलना है, या पेरेंट्स को भी लगे समवेयर डाउन द लाइन द स्किल आल्सो इज आल्सो इंक्लूडेड इन दैट करिकुलम, वेयर दे फील कि अगर 10 के बाद भी बच्चे ने नहीं सक्सीड किया, विच अगेन वी डोंट वांट टू, वी वांट टू सी दैट देयर इज 100% रिजल्ट, बट इफ इन केस देयर इज अ स्किल which will help that boy or girl to be on their legs and say, boss, I can do something better in the community, and I can be a role model to others also, where I can say that मैंने जो सीखा है, मैंने जो ये ट्रेनिंग ली है, या मैंने जितना भी मेरा एजुकेशन किया है, I have done the best, and I am now in a society where I can be at the same level. I can sit with you all. So this is what. So we have a lot of content, maybe creating, as I said, Go IT is one program, IMF is one program, Ignite My Future, which is specifically made for teachers, which is computational thinking, where we teach the trainers how to take, because they also face the same issue. When they go back to parents, either they are uneducated, illiterate, they are not able to understand, and they say, हाँ, karte hai, and then nothing happens. So they need to have that, expertise to explain them how important it is. That is one thing. There are a lot of programs, and we can work with them. In the previous panel, someone said that we can create a community. We all are together. We are not here just to listen what the panelists are saying, or all the three panels said. But if we can come together, brainstorm, and I'm sure there will be a lot of things coming out. So with TCS, we have a lot of skills in terms of, definitely we are, our core competency is IT, but yes, apart from IT, there is a lot within TCS. So, with life sciences, we can look at our doctors coming and supporting us with healthcare. With environmentalists, we have people who can do something with environment. We are the youngest group company in other Tata Group companies, and we have young population, which are creative, which have that thought process. So yes, we are looking very positive to see how we can create that content. But yes, as the previous panelist, someone said that we cannot just go and commit in this open forum saying that ye karenge. So we would love to collaborate, come together, meet, discuss, debate. Might be possibility that we do not come with the same thought process. There might be differences, but that was going to help us to see how we're going to see and how we're going to improve the education system and the employability at 18 in Mira Bhayandar.
Great. So there is a lot of opportunity there. The point which you meant and said that if the curriculum is attractive, children will come. One example, we have started digital labs in a lot of schools. We have found that within a year, the child is coming and asking the teacher, do we have a class today? There is an engagement there, because that's something which is attracting the child, and that will help them. So digital labs definitely is one of the mechanisms which can pull in children, because today people want to spend a lot of time on the digital front, and it will help them also a lot in future for their career as well as for their enterprise, whatever they start in future. They can harness the power of internet and digital. Now the last point from you, Anthony. So the skilling part is where we would like you to support Mira Bhayandar Municipal Corporation, and in what way can you get engaged along with your organization. By the way, Today is his organization's anniversary. He has left the celebrations and come to us. First half of serious meetings he has attended, and the fun part he has avoided just to be with us. So I think that's a beautiful thing which you have done. You have come here to support the cause which we are in now. Please guide us on the way forward on the skilling part.
Thank you, Gigi. Yes, we have completed 5 years as a foundation. Of course, initially we were working with Sterlite Tech Foundation, which has almost 10 years plus, but it was bifurcated as a separate foundation. See, with regard to Sterlite Identity Foundation and on a personal self as well, as I was telling earlier also, see, what is important is what we do with infrastructure. Infrastructure is important, no doubt about it. But most of the time what we see, there are many corporates, many agencies wanting to give lot of infrastructure, but we have to use them. I have worked in almost 28, 29 states and union territories in India. And in one of the states, I don't want to name the state, I was looking at different places, DEO was with me. So I said, I can't see the computer room here. And I remember that there is 30 computers been donated by such a agency. I've been told by the secretary that 30 computers are there. Where is the computer lab? Then they say, oh, computers are there. Then there is also a kind of storage room for what do we call grains for the midday meal. So it was kept behind, dumped it. It was not even opened up. So what we had to do was just open up things and help them to make use of it. So the point what I'm trying to make is, yes, as a foundation, yes, we may not be able to come and help you in the infrastructure, which you have already got fantastic infrastructure. We can come definitely as a technical expert in terms of how do you go through the teachers and teachers' mindset. Because we need to change the mindset of the existing teachers if you want to move. We cannot say we want to reach there, but I will do as it was in the beginning. It will never happen. Many of us get caught up with the jargon. No, we talk about experiential learning. The example that you talked to us is a good example of experiential learning. And I'm sure I can see some youngsters here. Are you studying in the colleges? When you were in the school, how many of you did your project by yourself or your vendor or your parents? How many of you actually did by yourself? Not the shopkeeper behind or the parents. For your kids, right? You see that? So, this is what exactly happens. We come with a lot of jargon, project-based learning, this-based learning, experiential learning, and finally, it is the vendors who are nearby the school who makes the actual education. The students do not get through. So we can help the teachers or the resource person rather. You have your trainers, right? For training the teachers. We can help the trainers to train the teachers to change the mindset, think different way, because I personally believe the methodology of transaction makes difference. Whether you have smart board or computers or digital resources, a lot of things can be done. Even the example that you talked about, migration. We have, now that we have learned that online education is possible, if there is a migration, why don't we look at harness the power of technology? So we can look at various options. We can help you to brainstorm and make sure that you have a plan to excel so that you do not have next year 54 people dropped out. In fact, that's what we have done with the MCGM. They were looking at number of scholarships. So in that particular school, there were only 3 scholarships. With 1 year, they have moved from 3 to 33. Now last year it is 75. The numbers are just going exponentially. So we can help you in that, both from a teacher education perspective or even from the point of helping the officials from a data analytics point of view. Whichever it is there, we can always talk over it.
Thanks a lot. Before the mic is snatched away by Binjal, I would say alone we can do nothing, but together we can do a lot. And we are all here to ensure that whatever dream you have set, whatever targets you have set, Sanjay sir and team, we are there with you. Thank you.
Just before you take over again, just last point, I just want to ask you all, have you all, anybody of you, got a chance to teach your maids or security staff children, right? I'm sure you must be facing that some issues that sometimes they don't understand. So one more recommendation or suggestion, not recommendation, but suggestion, that when we talk about PTA, in our government schools, 36 schools which we have, if we can have one day for those parents where we can have financial literacy, because sometimes they also come back with saying financial literacy, financial issues. Though everything is free, but sometimes they need to buy books or something, some pen, pencil. So financial literacy is one thing which we can take them through. And there are many more things which we can sensitize the parents, and they might get more aware about how it is important. Yeah, that is one point. Thank you.
Thank you so much for making the session so engaging and interactive as well. This was the first. Before you leave us, we have on stage Ms. Kalpita Pimple, the Deputy Municipal Commissioner at MBMC, to thank you for your taking the time out. Ji. First, we will be presenting a token of appreciation to Mr. Anthony Nelissery. Next up, we would like to thank Mr. Dipen Shah. Next, our very dynamic moderator, Mr. Gigi John. And finally, Ms. Sushila Shastri. Could we also invite Mr. Katkar ji on stage again for a group photograph with the panel?
Fundamentally, it was a very engaging interaction. The panelists have shown their willingness to engage with the MBMC. We at MBMC, along with my colleagues, have decided to dedicate every first Wednesday of every month for the things we have initiated today. And I request panelists and their colleagues or subordinates, whenever we request in advance, I would like to have you there to make this idea implementable, palatable, and in your language sellable. So I'm genuinely thankful for the panelists for the great insights they have shared here. I have noted down some points, and I will assure you, I will definitely work on it. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir and his team, we assure Sir and his team that if they are creating a council, we are the part of that council. I dedicate my time to come, discuss, debate, suggest, learn for the betterment of. And I was talking to Gigi in the morning during the lunch time that we don't want to wait till 2047. 5 साल में कुछ करके दिखाना है. Thank you.
Yeah, count me too. I'll be also there.
Same, sir.
Same.
We'll be there.
Be ready for the Wednesday reviews.
Wednesday interaction.
Our first panelist is Mr. Anthony Nelissery, who heads the Sterlite Ed India Foundation and leads the foundation in preparing Lastly, I would like to call upon stage the student volunteer group at Assays Church of God organization for their volunteering support